Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Duty's Daggers, and it's time to talk about the best budget knife of 2024. I know it's a few days into January already. I'm a little late, but we're going to do it anyways because I didn't get a chance to do it while it was still 2024. So, as you all know, there are so many budget knives released seemingly on a daily basis nowadays that it's an impossibility to try them all. You can't. There's just way too many, which I think is a problem, actually. I think there's too many knives being released, but that's beside the point. Um, I get sent budget knives fairly often nowadays. You know, the larger the channel has gotten, the more exposure I've gotten, the more that mostly budget companies have reached out to me and sent me some knives to check out, and to show on the channel for free. And of all those knives that I got this year, I've got four right here that are the best. And we're gonna go through them, and then I'm gonna choose the number one best. Starting it off, Vasti Acorn. This was one that kind of surprised me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I do. And talking to some of my friends, they agree as well. This is a really good knife from Vasti. We got some micarta handle scales. The micarta is not the best quality, it's to be expected. It's a cheap knife, but it's not bad. You got some texture, feely textureness going on there. You have some gold anodized accents here. The pivot's kind of cool looking, not just a plain old pivot. Great deep carry pocket clip. I love Vasti's clips. Their deep carry clips. They're really, really good. They work good and they look good. It's a reversible clip as well. And you have a front flipper and a deployment hole. Really nice blade shape, drop point, belly, choke up spot. Blade stock isn't too thick. Very thin behind the edge. In fact, let me measure that. That feels crazy thin. Let's see here. 10 thousandths. 10 thousandths. That's awesome. On bearings, real smooth. The front flipper works great. It's thumb flickable. It's reverse flickable, obviously. You can do all the little tricks with the front flipper. You can do the side finger over the top. The D10's great. It's smooth. Choke up spot. Contoured scales. Really comfy in the hand. It's a really good knife, man. 14C 28N blade steel. The Acorn is a really good knife. Next up, CJRB Pyate Lite. This is the cheapest knife on the list, and because it is so cheap, technically it should win. This knife was on sale for $25 when I bought it. It could still be on sale. I'll put a link down below. If not, the regular price is only $30. That is so cheap. That's cheaper than any of the knives we're going to talk about today. So for those reasons, it should win because it's the cheapest. But I don't think it's going to win. There's one more that I like a little bit better than this, but this is really good. The Pyate is an excellent knife, the Warncliffe version particularly. They have real thin blade stock, man. I think the thinnest of any knife we'll talk about today. Really thin blade stock. It is a slicey knife, 98 thousandths blade stock thickness. Great blade shape. It's a Warncliffe sheep's footy kind of deal with slight belly. Very useful. AR RPM 9 blade steel. And Grivory handle scales. Now, my first thought when I think of Grivory is the bug out and how gross that knife felt. How light it was, how unbalanced it felt, how much flex was in the scales when you squeezed them. But this knife has full steel liners. So it's not very flexible. It doesn't feel super light and cheap. So there you go. I think that's way better, having full liners. It just feels way better. It's a button lock. It's relatively snappy for a button lock. It's not like crazy snappy like the Wii Cubit or anything like that. But it's fine, I can feel it for sure. Well, actually, yeah, I can. You have to actually work at it, though. It's really easy to flick out. Reverse flick, too, obviously. it's a great knife. You know, you got the same ergos as the regular Pyate. It's a slightly longer than the regular Pyate. Choke up spot, real comfy. It's just a great knife. Reversible deep carry pocket clip. You know, all the things that you want for $25-$30. That's wild. Wild. Next up, another CJRB, the Acacia. This is a new one, and it kind of surprised me too. This is a pretty good one as well. Might be the snappiest crossbar lock I've ever tried. Crossbar locks are notoriously mushy. That's because they don't have a traditional detent ball or anything like that, giving you the resistance you need to be able to flick off of. But this one actually kind of flicks decent. I mean, not as good as like a, you know, frame lock or liner lock maybe, but for a crossbar lock, really good. Really thin blade stock as well. I think it's just as thin as the Pyate Lite. There's a dog hair. We got a drop point blade shape. I like the blade shape, you know, drop down tip, you know, belly comes up. You got a choke up spot that's pretty good. Not quite as roomy as on the Pyate Lite, but there's enough space in there for you to comfortably choke up. If your fingers are fatter than mine, you might be touching the edge there a little bit. Mine aren't, but yours might. Deep carry pocket clip. Same kind of grivery as the Pyate Lite. Different pattern in kind of the faux inlay there. I like how they do that. It just kind of breaks up the scale. It makes it look a little bit, you know, more interesting. Reverse flick is great. Thumb flick, though, not so good. This hole is not good for thumb flicking. It's just not. Reverse flicking, perfect. Thumb flicking, nope, not good. I don't even, oh, there we go. Yeah, you can do it. It is not easy, though, whatsoever. So that's cool. Kind of just a drop-pointed version of the Pyate Lite, but with a crossbar lock, sort of. Different blade shape, you know, obviously. So it's not that similar. I guess the only similarity really is the grivery handle skills, I guess, and the black blades. But they come in different versions. Finally, number 4, and my favorite budget knife of the year, the Vasti Raccoon with the top liner lock. This knife is a banger. It is a certified budget banger. This beats all these other knives. My Carta feels pretty good. A little more textury maybe than the Acorn. Kind of reminds me of like a jeans material. It's the Raccoon. You know, the Raccoon's been around for a while now. There's different locking versions. There's a regular button lock. There's a crossbar lock. I think there's just a regular liner lock too. And now there's the top liner lock, which is basically a compression lock with a button. So you can see we have the liner lock back there, and it's being actuated by this button here, pushing that liner lock or compression lock aside, letting the blade fall. This allows us to have the feel of having a button, but the detent of having, you know, compression lock, liner lock, or frame lock. It's got an actual detent ball in there, giving it a really nice, super crisp breakaway. And that is really what catapults this knife into being, I think, the best budget knife maybe ever made. It's tough because this is the cheapest, best knife you can buy. This one right here, that I'm aware of. I don't know of a better $30 knife that even comes close to this. But in the budget realm, I think we're talking about maybe, I don't know how much this costs. Let's say $75 and under, just to be safe. I think this is maybe like $60, $65. In the $75 range and under, which is I consider to be the budget territory, this is the best. The Raccoon was already a great knife. It has everything you need in a good, just good working pocket knife. Blade stock's relatively good thickness. It's not quite as thin as these CJRBs, but it's definitely thin. It's a great blade shape. Almost a full flat grind. Pretty thin behind the edge. You got a nice choke up area here. It's kind of like a half choil, half flat spot on the scale kind of choke up deal here. Really roomy, really comfortable. Again, that really great Vasti pocket clip that's inset and reversible. And the action, man, is just so good. It's snappy as hell, dude. It's snappy as absolute hell. And the button feels amazing. It's got this texture on the surface of it. Kind of gives you a little bit of grip. There's not like a lot of travel where you have to push the button a long ways to get it to disengage. It's just right there. And it's amazing. So the Vasti with the Vasti Raccoon with the top liner lock is my pick for best budget knife of the year. But again, this is the cheapest best knife that I'm aware of. But just, you know, put another, whatever, 30, maybe 40 bucks in there and get yourself something a little bit better. You know, these are both button locks, but this is a traditional plunge lock button lock. And the action is nowhere near as snappy. Nowhere near as satisfying a flick as this Raccoon is. Other kind of benefits, you know, you get a nicer handle material. You get the micarta over the Grivory. I like this clip better on the Raccoon. It's not bad on the CJRB, but I like this clip better. I think it looks better. I think it functions better. It's a little bit lower profile. What else? The size is almost exactly the same. I guess the only other difference would, or the main other difference would be the blade shape. You know, Wharncliffe versus drop point. So if you're really, you know, a fan of Wharncliffe's, then maybe you might like this better. But if you just want an all-around pocket knife with really snappy button lock action, you can't beat this at all. I mean, just watching me flick this, I know that you want to do it. You ever see someone flick a knife on a video and you're like, man, I can tell that looks snappy. I really want to flick that. That's what you're thinking right now. I know you are. Alright, anyways. There you go. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, there was a lot of budget knives that came out this year. I might have missed some really good ones. If you have one in mind, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll check it out. That's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.